So there's someone in the Oregon community who's been basically starting putting out disinformation since they came onto Instagram. And we know that there's disinformation, there's agents, there's trolls that they get paid to just create doubt and confusion, and that is pretty much what we see now happening in the Oregon community. And for a while now, I've been hinting at this, hoping people catch on, and not really naming names, because these people they play hardball. They'll sue you if you use the trademarked name. They'll extort money from you if you use that name. They have ways of having whole websites removed, pages removed. So we're dealing with some people who, in the circles that I know, who know them, say they're black magicians. And they do not give off any sort of good energy. And if you're somewhat empathic and you can kind of read energy and people, like I think I can do pretty well, you know that they're deceivers. I think, if anything, I have a good read on when someone's a deceiver and not genuine. And these guys are not genuine. And let's just tell the story real quick. So this one particular account got on Instagram last year. I think it was January of 2018. They came on Instagram, and another artist, Oregon artist of mine, a friend of mine, said, "Hey, this person's on Instagram. Watch out," right? And at that time, that artist was actually working with a big account that is known for creating memes that start with "Did you know?" And so this big account has got like 450,000 followers, something like that. I don't know. I don't follow them anymore ever since these whole shenanigans started going down last year. But so the story is, this account came on January of last year. I was warned by this other account who's dealt with them in the past, and it was like, okay, fine. And I noticed this account started following me, and I was like, sure, whatever. And they were watching my highlights. It's like, okay, kind of creepy. Not really creepy because they're watching my highlights, but like just all the stuff that I'd heard about them. And I was like, excuse me. So I was, so this big account, let's go back to the big account that is known for the memes and the "Did you know" memes, and known for being a truther. Well, this big account was promoting another particular Orgonite account and saying that this is the best Orgonite on the market, and you got to buy this stuff because this account, this artist who makes Orgonite, was paying them to promote their product, which what happens. Sorry, my throat's getting dry. So this account, let's talk about this account was getting paid. This big account, known for its memes, you can hopefully figure out who I'm talking about, was getting paid a certain number of dollars to promote this other Oregon artist account, who I knew and who's warned me of this other account. And this is hard to tell a story when you can't name names. But so right now we're talking about three people. We're talking about the Oregon artist I know, who's paying the big account to promote his product. And then we have the new guy who is is shady and does not have a good reputation in the community, that came on in January of last year. So those are the 3 accounts we're talking about right now, okay? And what happened was, the artist that was paying the big account to promote his Orgonite trademark was then backstabbed by that big account to go with the new account that came on in January. Because this new account that came on in January threw a lot more money at the big account and said, hey, my stuff is actually the best in the market, because I test it with all these these expensive gadgets, and my stuff is the best stuff on the market, and my dad trademarked the term, and so you should go with me and I'll pay you X amount of dollars, which is way more than you're being paid right now. And so what did that big account do? That big account took the money and backstabbed the guy who was promoting, and said, oh, you know what, this is actually the best Orgonite around, and and the other guy's stuff sucks now. And he just said that. He said that just because he's being paid more money. Okay, and so around the same time, this new account that came on in January starts putting out information that gifting cell towers with Orgonite is bad, because these just accumulate the dead energy. And so anytime you go gift a cell tower or a polluted area, you're just accumulating dead energy. And us gifters, we mean well, but we're just really misled. And so he came off as pretentious, cocky, arrogant, condescending, patronizing, you know, and it's not true at all, because I mean, he's just so manipulative. So he starts saying, oh, you know, that's why the California still has a drought, and because all these people who are gifting towers out there are just making it worse. And we actually had more rain than we've ever had in a long time last year. So this guy is just talking out of his ass. And he is now being promoted by this big account. So he's starting to get a lot of followers. And the followers who don't really know what these devices do are now being misinformed by his claims that they just accumulate dead energy. What a real Orgon energy device does is it has an accumulator field, so it brings in the energy, but then it transforms the energy. And it does that with the ability of crystals, because crystals, gemstones, minerals, mainly just quartz though, quartz, we have piezoelectricity in there when the resin cures around it. But this guy is saying, oh, piezoelectricity isn't even a thing, and there's not enough in the cured resin to give it a charge. But even if that's the case, why does he use it then? Why does he use quartz? Because it's an oscillator. It stabilizes energy, and it also amplifies energy. And this is why it's used in industry. And that's why he uses it, the deceiver himself. So when you have quartz in a mobile Orgon accumulator, it's going to stabilize the energy, and then it's going to amplify that stabilized energy. It's going to convert, transmute, balance, restore. That's what quartz does, okay? And now you can add other stuff. You can add gemstones and other minerals and other crystals that will enhance the ability of the device. But what this guy was saying was, just makes no sense. He's saying that these just accumulate dead energy. So he's acting like no one's putting quartz in any of the devices. If that were the case, if I was putting tower busters at a cell tower every time I gifted in the past, but it had no quartz in there, I would say, yeah, that's probably not the best thing to do. That's a head scratcher right there. But we do put quartz in every single device, and that allows for the energy to accumulate in that device, and then it's stabilized and then amplified out, distributed out. the stabilized, transmuted, transformed energy. And so the whole premise behind this disinformation agent, this account that came on in January, the whole premise is to confuse people because they're naive and they're gullible. They don't know how this technology works. They don't know the history and the backstory. And the reason why he's doing this is because he is the son of the person who trademarked the term Orgonite. And they have a vengeance out for anyone who makes these because they feel like we're stealing their invention, and they are bitter. They are bitter. And they have been known to sue people for using the term, and if you don't pay them $500 a year in extortion fees for using the term, and legally they have a right to do that, but they have been known to sue people, and you either take Orgonite out of your business name or you will have to pay us $500 a year. I've spoken with numerous artists who have gone through that, and I was apprehended by them as well because I included the term in my tags on my old Etsy account. My Etsy account, I still have the Etsy account, but I would do the tags like Orgonite, and I said, you know what, it's fine. I'll just erase the tags. I don't need to use the term. I don't want to pay you $500 a year. I don't need to use the term, so that's why I call them Orgon Energy devices, because that term is not trademarked. Orgon Generator is trademarked as well, and so I don't use that term. So these guys want to own the market. They want to own these terms. That's fine. You can do that. You know, for some people, these guys, it's about money. It's about controlling the market, and it's about money. And that's why they came on in January last year and hired the biggest truther account so it can get them the most exposure. And that's fine. It's just business. It's more of like a cutthroat business, you know. This guy should have been a banker or something like that. He should be working on Wall Street. But instead he's on Instagram pushing these chi devices. So hopefully you can figure out who I'm talking about. And this guy really pisses me off because he's now attacking my pieces, our pieces, people who make these correctly, and they're actually helping a lot of people. He's attacking them. He's doing his little tests, trying to show that there's nothing there. I could repeat any of my tests anytime. The ion readings, the water freezer tests. I'm going to do a plant test in the spring. My testimonials, you know, bees and animals gravitating. That's more of anecdotal, but it's mainly how the water, the conductor of life force, water reacts to these devices and people. Okay, and if every single testimonial is amazing and every single water test is amazing, you know you're doing something right. Okay, and if you feel and sleep great yourself, and you know you're doing something right. So this person is now this person who has a vengeance because people are using this technology, and the whole thing dates back to the fact that they never put quartz in the original devices they trademarked, period. The person who trademarked the term is on record, on video, numerous times saying no crystals needed. Okay, and so all they did was, and I'm going to give credit where it's due, you know, they mimicked Wilhelm Reich in his Orgon accumulator box, which basically layered inorganic and organic, and so they use metal powders, which are awesome. They cover a lot of surface area. It's what I use, and he used epoxy, you know, and that's the resin. So he had organic and inorganic, and if you put that in a muffin pan, all of a sudden you have a little accumulator matrix. Okay, so that is what the term they trademarked as Orgonite. Okay, they never used crystals. Now they might have added crystals later and not told anyone, and then realized it was actually a better deal, it worked better. But who really emphasized and added the crystals was Don and Carol Croft. Carol Croft is kind of an intuitive healer, and she said, well, you know, we have what they trademarked, which is awesome, which mimicked Wilhelm Reich, which was genius on its own. Great job. But why don't we add quartz to it? Because quartz has so many amazing properties and is used in industry for so many amazing things. And then once they added quartz, we have the technology that we have today, the Orgon energy devices. That's what I call them, to stay away from these trademarked terms from people who are just want to control the market and money. And so that's why the people who trademarked the term are bitter against anyone making these devices, period. You know, they might have a couple accounts who kiss their ass and they like, and they say, oh, you know, we don't hate every, no. They are bitter against anyone who makes these and doesn't kiss their ass. And it's like ego, arrogance with greed and a patronizing, condescending black magician attitude, all wrapped in one. And they're paying one of the biggest truther accounts, known for making good memes, I guess, did you know memes. They're paying him top dollar to promote their product. So everyone thinks that these are the best things on the market, when if you ask anyone in the circles, like I have, hey, how are their products? Have you ever tested them out, or what's your experience with them? I've had everyone say these machines are overpriced. One radionics guy told me the Orgonite was dull, and the technology, the machine is actually, what did he say? I forget the actual term, but he's basically saying it's way overpriced and not really, not good technology at all. Kind of cheap technology and dull Orgonite. And they charge way too much. One other guy said, oh yeah, I know that guy. He'll charge you $2,000 for a box of wires. And you can't make this stuff up. So, I mean, when you get all this feedback from all these different people in the circle, in your community, who you're cool with, because it's all about respect in this movement and getting these towers neutralized and getting positive energy into people's homes. When you hear all this feedback from all these different people telling you the same thing, you know, it tends to carry a little weight. And then when you see how this account acts, and when you see how this particular account posts stuff, and you see that they're a deceiver, so I call them an agent. And people in the circle call them, say they're known for practicing black magic. And I guess there's a couple of websites you can go that verify this. And so these black magician deceivers, hell bent on controlling the market and money, and they don't gift at all. They don't gift. They're obviously against gifting. They're against Don and Carol Croft. They're slandering a dead man. Don Croft was who died recently, and Don Croft, the guy, him and his wife, who put quartz in the Orgonite, because it was never there before. They were cool with the people who trademarked the term. They were cool with him when he was alive. And then once Don Croft died, they start slandering him. Who slanders a dead man? I mean, seriously, you got to be a freaking coward, dude. And so we're gonna go live with Carol Croft, the one who put quartz in, and we're gonna just straighten all this stuff out. But people need to know the truth, and I'm not gonna be intimidated by this particular account just because they're known for being a black magician or suing people or whatever. I don't use the trademark terms. I know you're a deceiver and full of shit, and you can make all these little posts, you know, slandering everyone else's devices you want and claiming yours are the best on the market, but really you don't have a good reputation in this community, and that's not really a good thing. And if you have to buy your followers, you have to buy all these accounts to promote your stuff, if you have to slander your competition to make yourself look better, I mean, what does that say about yourself, really? I mean, really, if you have a good product, you should just be able to sell it. You shouldn't have to, you know, I get it that it's business and stuff, and if you have enough money to buy a big account, that's good. More power to you. But you shouldn't have to slander other people's accounts, and you should definitely not disinform people that these just accumulate dead energy, and you should definitely not slander dead people, and and just be an all around douche. You're an all around douche, dude. And I really don't care if your product works or not, because mine work great, and so that's all I'm focused on is my work. But when you start slandering my work, when you start disinforming people, and you look at these comments and people have no idea that you're just this agent, troll, shill, You only can care about controlling the market, and people have no idea. It's really sad, and it really boils my blood, because I cannot stand deception. And if you think about like Wilhelm Reich, and if you think about Tesla, these guys, like Wilhelm Reich, he just wanted to distribute his Orgon accumulators, his ORACs. He didn't want any money. He did distribute them. He actually got pinched for interstate distribution, but he wasn't like selling. It wasn't about money for him. It wasn't about money. He just wanted to heal his cancer patients. He came from, his dad had killed his mom, I believe, when he was a teenager. He witnessed it. He was very young when he witnessed it. His dad was not really. His dad was kind of an abusive guy, and so he became traumatized at kind of an early age. And so it was very personal for him to kind of experience emotional breakthroughs and healing and stuff like that. And so he had really kind of a big, he had a connection with Orgon energy. It was just, he was the right guy at the right time to rediscover this. And so he basically, he was an amazing, scientist and psychologist, psychiatrist. He studied with Sir Edmund Freud, and even Einstein, and later on, and everything like that. But the Orgon energy, the life force, the everything was personal for him, because he had experienced trauma at a young age of losing a family member by the hands of another family member, and he knew that healing was important, and he knew that a lot of times disease was caused by unhealed trauma, and therefore the life force can't flow through you, and so like when he was doing his he used a sensitive millivolt reader to detect the Orgon energy in his patients. And so when they would have emotional breakthroughs, and they would have these amazing healing experiences, everything would flow. And then and he found that once it was not stagnant, the chi can flow through you, and it starts with emotions and everything. So my point is, he was someone who didn't want to just profit off these devices, what he had discovered. He wanted to actually help people, and that is the root of this technology today. We look at Tesla. He discovered free energy, and when he was talking to J.P. Morgan about it, J.P. Morgan said, "How much money can we make off this?" And he said, "Nothing. It's free. We're giving it to the world." And J.P. Morgan said, "Okay, I'll talk to you later. Your funding is cut off. I'm going with Edison because we need to make a profit here, right?" And so for Tesla, he broke and alone, an old man in a New York hotel, right? And they burned his books. It wasn't about money for Tesla, vegetarian too. It wasn't about money. It was just about getting the energy, the free energy, into the hands of the people. And it's the same thing with Wilhelm Reich. It wasn't about money. It was just getting the healing, free energy, really. Orgon energy is free. It's just about getting that healing energy, these Orgon accumulators, into the hands of the people, so people can heal their trauma and experience the life force flowing, the chi flowing. And then fast forward, you have these two guys who were like the OG originators of free energy, kind of, and giving it back to the people. And no greed at all. And then fast forward, you see these antics. So would Wilhelm Reich and Tesla really be trying to control the market and profit off these devices? Or would they just be trying to gift and get these in as many hands as possible? Not slandering people for adding quartz, which is an amazing component to the whole devices. In addition, not trying to disinform others, disempower others. You're disempowering people when you're disinforming them. So the actions of these individuals who are related, the actions of these individuals is nothing close to how they should be acting if they were real, genuine, people who want to heal the world and heal people. They're deceivers. They're deceivers, and they're deceiving people who don't see this, who don't know the history here. They don't know the history. They just know that, we trademarked the term, and so we know everything. Well, really, no, you didn't add quartz, and that's why you're bitter at the world, because you didn't add quartz. Someone else did. You should just take it and say, "Hey, that's awesome, great addition. We still trademarked this product over here that doesn't have quartz, but So you could see why they would be bitter, because they trademarked, hey, thinking, hey, we have this amazing technology, but oh gosh, we should have added quartz from the beginning. So this bitterness, this vengeance has a history. And if you don't know this history, you're not going to, you know, all these things, you're not going to be able to piece them together. So that's what's going on. And I'm going to get Carol Croft on a video, and we're going to talk about all this, but that's the backstory. These individuals are a black mark, a stain on a positive movement, and everyone really should know that gifting towers has amazing benefits for your community. Putting these devices around EMF sources like smart meters and Wi-Fi routers is amazing. It's not just going to accumulate the dead energy. That's saying that is assuming that there's no quartz in any of these devices, which there is. So the energy stabilized, it's pulled in and it's stabilized, and then it's amplified, period. So they're disingenuous when they're saying this, in that they use quartz themselves. It's just so insanely psychotic to say that these devices just accumulate dead energy because you're assuming they don't have quartz. Which, just because you didn't add quartz originally doesn't mean other people aren't adding quartz now. It just makes absolutely no sense. So it's really about, that's why I'm dedicating my life to these devices, because I know they work. I know they help people. I mean, I've had a local buyer here who's bought 3 pulse pyramids, and he said he's given them to his family members, and because each one they're like, I'm sleeping so much better. One of them lives right next to a tower. His parents live next to a tower, and he said both his mom and his dad, he gave one to his mom, one to his dad, and one to his sister. And they said that once they had these devices, they put them under the bed, they turn the pulse on at night, they can sleep again, they feel normal again. And that's why he's just like, dude, I'm trying to get him on camera to do a testimonial, but he's really shy, but hopefully soon. But he's like, these are like life-saving devices. Like, I'm not saying they're going to save anyone's lives, but I'm saying that with the amount of EMF that's out there, and the amount of like disease and insomnia and depression, and just the amount of ill health being created by this EMF out here, when you have these devices, they help people. When you put these in their environment, they're helping people. That's why I want to do this full time. I got out of banking. Maybe I'll have to go back soon in the future. I don't know. Hopefully not, because I want to do this. I want to help people. I want to truly help people, not just give loans to business owners and do a bunch of paperwork. You know, I want to help people. And yeah, I have to make a little bit of money, of a profit, to support my family. But that's all I'm looking to do, is support my family. I'm not looking to control the market and deceive others and hire big accounts, just peddle my stuff like these guys are doing. I have no respect for what these guys are doing. Absolutely no respect for them. And that's why they have a bad reputation in the community, is because they don't respect anyone else. You're not going to get any respect back when you don't respect anyone else. So you can't slander dead people. You can't try to control the market. You can't backstab people. You can't try to slander other people's products to make yourself look better. And if you think you're going to keep getting away with this and deceiving your followers into them thinking you're like a good stand-up guy who just cares about people's health by getting these chi generators, and you're about money, you're about controlling the market, and you're about deception and slandering dead people. Period. Prove me wrong. We're going to get Carol Croft on soon, and we're going to dispel all this disinformation, all these agents, and the truth will set you free. Peace.